my God. I'm watching. We're all watching Egypt and Iran, and it looked like Iran scored, and apparently it's an offside, and Egypt right now has got to kiss the VAR official for this one, ladies and gentlemen, because it just got removed.
It's just sad.
Oh my God, what are we doing here? I swear to you, Michael, I was ready to go on and go like, oh my God, Iran actually scored, and they just made an upset on Egypt, but nope, VAR just saved their butts, saved their bacon.
The sad part is Egypt hasn't been that great today. They
No,
literally got saved by VAR.
Absolutely, they got saved by VAR. I got, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I have to now. I have to now, adjust certain things on my Excel. Now I got to take away the goal for Iran and the goal against on Egypt. They're still extending some time here, obviously. They're already past 6 minutes of second half stoppage time. And geez Louise, I'm telling you, man, it is an absolute insanity in Seattle. They're still attacking now. What's it going to be here? Ooh, was there a shove? I don't know. Oh, off the crossbar. Off the freaking crossbar. Oh, my God.
It's we can't play the live feed of that or else we'd get in big trouble. But
oh, I know. I can't aim the whole thing on there. I can't aim my camera all the way up there.
Also, you probably shouldn't aim any of it on there, to be honest.
No, well, you can't, I know. You can't really do that. I'm going to have to, move it a little bit like this. So, you can't get the whole thing. You can't get it. You only get an edge of it, but no one can see the score anyway. Or the score bug, but still, though, my God, what is going on tonight? We're seeing history. We're almost seeing history. Everything's coming apart.
All over. This second to last day of these group stages, there's just madness all over. Every single game has been insane.
Are you not entertained, ladies and gentlemen? Are you not entertained? My God. Oh, my goodness. I was expecting to see something happen, and I thought it was complete madness. And next thing you know, nope, it's going the other way, folks. What are we doing here? This is what the sport does to all of us. It messes with our emotions. It plays with our lives. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria.
Honestly, I didn't care about any of the matches in this group, so I was like, I'm just here for the ride.
That's it. But, I really thought Iran was going to take it. I thought they're going to actually take it. And then, that VAR comes in calling, and nope, it's gone. It's all gone. Oh, man, 2 extra minutes now, soon to the 3. Nope, that's it. It's all over now. It's official. It is a 1-1 draw. And I believe officially Egypt survives.
And they take second in the group.
Yep, they take second in the group. Belgium takes first, and Iran right now has to hope that their record can hold. So for one of the best 8 third-place finishers.
Well, I think they should be okay in theory because they're sitting in 6th place right now. In the best of 8. So they have to hope that Algeria does not win.
Yes.
I think if Algeria wins, no, should be okay still because everyone's getting knocked down by 1.
Exactly.
In theory, I think it's safe to say Iran's in.
Yes.
They're in.
Yes, exactly. My God. The humanity that we all had to witness in that thing. Jeez Louise. Crazy situation. Oh my goodness. But welcome everybody to the Feuerstein's Fire American Soccer Show for our 2026 FIFA World Cup Matchday Review number 16, along with my co-host Michael Martinez of Cascadia FC. We are all now just feeling wacky, weird, and now relief that this whole situation is over. It is
day.
Oh, God.
Tomorrow should be interesting.
Exactly. I can't wait for Kenta to come in and just talk about this freaking game. This freaking game that's probably taken off how many years off our lives now?
None off mine. I'm chilling, but I don't know about you, but I'm chilling.
I think I've already lost a few lives right now. I think I went from 53 to 57.
There you go.
Oh my God. I can't believe what we just saw. I can't believe what we just witnessed.
Honestly, I'm more struck with the Cabo Verde and Saudi Arabia, but that's just me.
Well, I really, yeah. I don't want to get to that one.
Yeah. Or in the Spain, Uruguay, like that was just stupid, but we'll get to that one later.
Well, I will definitely say this. Either you're upset at the players for revolting, or do you blame Bielsa for being an old fart? Because, there are some look, I am disappointed for Uruguay because, number one, they are one of the good teams in South America that battles. They truly battle. And, I just believe that either they all decided to revolt against him, or, as we've been saying on this show, Bielsa is, maybe soccer terms, past it. And, you be the judge of this entire situation. But, I will agree, the modern player of today does not want to be yelled at, screamed at, and being treated like crap. They want to be respected for what they're able to do. And I understand that. And I think, maybe it's time for Bielsa either change the tactics, change the way he manages, or I'll say it, maybe it's time for him to retire and just move on.
Bielsa's never going to do that. He's never changed the style of play. He's so hell-bent on playing that man-to-man, like just play through the wall type football. That's just not entertaining. It's not good enough anymore. And I mean, look, Bielsa, this tournament falls on him. His tactics have been awful. He's not adapted well to the modern game. And honestly, I also blame Valverde. He is Uruguay's captain. He's having a disastrous year. One, he rejected playing fullback for Real Madrid, and he refused to play that. One, you don't get to decide where you play. That's not how it works.
No.
Second, he decided to revolt against Xabi Alonso and was helping lead the revolt to get him out of Real Madrid.
Yep.
He was not able to even get a start or really get games going really that much in the midfield for Real Madrid because again, better players in front of him, better system. He fought with Tchouaméni at the club, ended up in the hospital, missed the last El Clasico, or did not help Real Madrid's league title champions or league title. He did this to Bielsa. He led a locker room revolt, and he's a captain of both sides. Like, he is doing everything he possibly can to ruin his reputation. He did that all in this year. And I lost Daniel, I think. Sorry. So I just had to go on a little Fede Valverde rant. I think he deserves it. He has not been doing that great this year, and it just kind of shows. Probably should get his captaincy removed. While we're missing Daniel, I'm also going to go off on Bielsa just a little more. We saw this at Leeds. We see this at every single whatever club or national team he plays for. He cannot get the players to. He will get some players to ram their heads through a wall, but in the end, he is not a man manager, and it's either his way or the highway. That's just how it goes. In the meantime, after that, while I wait for Daniel to come back. Oh, there's Kenta. Hello, Kenta.
Hello.
Not sure where Daniel went. I don't know what happened, but hey, it's you and me right now.
Oh, no.
All right. Since you're here, let's get to the Senegal and Iraq game. Let's just start with that. Like,
yep.
Iraq had their chance to sneak their way into the next rounds of the World Cup, and they kind of fall flat on their faces and let in 5 goals against a really good Senegal side.
Yeah, I mean, maybe a bit unlucky on the red card in that sense that it's so early in the match, and I guess it goes in as a dog so red, and it's just something that if you can avoid it early in a match, you're better off conceding a goal and staying not a man down in 13th, 14th minute of a match. So again, we keep going to this Iraq team. Like I think they're a decent side, but I don't know of any Asian team or for that matter as a whole, I guess, that would compete competitively in this group. So yeah, truthfully, it's just really unfortunate that they were in this group to begin with. And yeah, I don't know. I don't know what positives to take out of this match. If I'm being very truthful, Ahmed Kassem makes another start. The Nashville SC midfielder, and he gets subbed off because of the red card, so he doesn't even see much of the pitch. So from the MLS standpoint of it, there's like not a ton to write home about this team. Yeah, and I can't even blame. I really can't blame Graham Arnold for any of this either. Like, what do you even do in this scenario? Like, of a match, right? Like,
I mean, yeah. From the get-go, you're kind of shoot yourself in the foot, and then you're just defending for your life, essentially.
Yeah, I applaud Iraq for this World Cup for not being the team that just sat back in a 5-back and just tried to absorb pressure for 90 minutes all 3 matches. They took it to Norway, played a bit compact, of course, but they weren't playing in the super low block. And against France at times, they were trying to create chances on the offensive side of the ball and hit on the counter. Obviously, that weather delay certainly doesn't help them. And then the early red card in this match, and it's just a bit unfortunate all across the board. But it's also kind of to be expected from a group that's like 3 Titans and 1 Iraq.
I like the 1 Iraq. That's a good way to put it. What's next for this Iraq?
Yeah, I mean, it's the Asian. It's rebounding at the Asian Cup, right? I mean, the group at the Asian Cup, shocker, it's not going to be as difficult as the group that they had at the World Cup. So for them, it'll be putting together a good performance. We've seen them even in the last time out. Like this Iraqi side have the quality to take down anyone in Asia, in my opinion. Like they did against a poor Japan side in the group stage last time out too. So they're in a group with Australia, so we'll get that matchup between Graham Arnold and his Aussies in soccer is facing off against his new team. So that'll be fun. And then you have a match against Singapore, which I really like their national team as one of the ASEAN teams. I think a lot of these ASEAN teams, Southeastern Asian teams, are on the rise and have a lot of young talents that we'll see at the Asian Cup that I'm super excited about. And then Tajikistan, which is always like one of those stingy defensive teams in Asian football that are just going to be tough to beat and pretty consistently get results against the top teams too. I think like you go back to round 2 of World Cup qualification in this past cycle, they were in a group with Saudi Arabia and Jordan. And I think they got a result against Saudi Arabia, a draw against Saudi Arabia in that cycle. So, I mean, they're a team that like in terms of Asian football standards can hold their own. So it'll be a competitive group, but I think Iraq will look at that group and say we should be a top 2 finisher.
Sure. And if this team they're not that old. They have a couple older players, but I feel like their core 11, their average age is like what, 27 or 26, 27. Like this team's going to be playing together for quite a long while, probably into the next cycle as well.
Yeah, I mean, even someone like Ayman Hussein, who's kind of been around the block, is 30 years old at this point. So you'd kind of think if they're back at the World Cup in 2030, like he would be a part of that cycle. And with kind of the Asian Cup, the timing of it being so close to the World Cup every time, you often see national teams go through the cycle ends at the Asian Cup. It's not at the World Cup. Like for the US, I'm sure the cycle ends at the World Cup, and then they restart that cycle, moving forward for the next 4 years, and maybe they're in the Copa America again. Who knows? Like I don't know what that exactly looks like. But or if you are in a confederation that has a serious continental competition like the Euros or Copa America or one of those tournaments, then there's a smaller cycle leading into that. But with Asia, especially for these teams that are at the World Cup, these 9 teams, you have the World Cup, and then 6 months later you're at the Asian Cup. There's not enough turnaround time to be rotating and changing your squad and your identity and your manager and all this stuff. So the results at the World Cup have to be taken under can't be taken under a microscope and overly exaggerated, I think. And I don't think sacking managers immediately after, unless it's a really, really poor performance, that it won't do you any good, because then you're gonna not give your manager proper time to go into an Asian Cup cycle.
You're gonna make yourself like Tunisia, like it's.
Yeah, it won't be beneficial for the group. So a smart federation would wait it out. Your manager got you to the World Cup, so you would wait it out and see how this manager can turn the tide for, the Asian Cup. And I think if we're talking specifically about Graham Arnold, I don't think there's a discontent with him as a manager. Just again, because the group is just brutal. I don't think anyone expected anything out of this team. They're a team that had to go through interconfederation playoffs and had to have so many things go against them, so that the fact that they're even here is a miracle in the first place, if we're being honest. So I think next is just I'm not sure what exactly is next for Graham Arnold, but it won't be at the earliest that we'll probably see a move is post Asian Cup, I'd imagine.
That's fair. Before we move on to the next Asian team, I want to talk about Ahmad Kassem. He's had a really good season so far for Nashville, and I feel like this was kind of his chance to kind of break out even more further. And what do you think his future is going to end up being?
For the national team particularly, I think he'll have a solid role. I don't know if it's difficult to tell with this Iraqi side. You have players that are kind of playing in Europe, as well as a lot of domestic talents too, and playing in guys playing in the PGPL, playing in the Qatar league, in the Middle Eastern leagues. So it's an interesting kind of balance of those two leagues and trying to figure out where talent is, and kind of, I guess, to an extent, I think MLS is probably going to be viewed higher than the domestic leagues, or at least to kind of hope so. And we saw it kind of through the naturalization process of Kassem. It feels like he's a part of the future of this national team long term. Otherwise, I don't think they would have gone through that naturalization process this kind of hastily before the World Cup. And unlike some other Asian players that we've seen at the World Cup that went through the naturalization process and didn't do anything, specifically Dennis Eckert for Iran, that didn't play a single minute in the group stage. He's played valuable minutes. He's played crucial minutes, and granted, for a team that hasn't played a ton, or hasn't found a ton of success, right? And they're not going to make it to the knockout stage, so the matches aren't, he came on in that Norway match off the bench, if I'm correct. Yeah. At that point, they're already losing, and they concede a couple more after, and so it's a good experience for him. And but yeah, I would imagine he's a long-term piece for the national team. I don't think they would have been too hasty with the naturalization process and bringing in a player that hasn't played for the national team a ton right before a World Cup if they didn't see something important in that player. They just wait until after the Asian Cup and kind of integrate over time.
Well, hopefully we see a lot from him coming, moving forward. Let's go on to the next one. Cabo Verde versus Saudi Arabia. I mean, definition of Cinderella story. Cabo Verde getting through the second in the group with 3 draws. I mean, was this group H is arguably one of the weakest performing groups in the entire World Cup, and I don't know what to make of the Saudi Arabia side. I mean,
they're horrible.
We talk about how horrible they are this entire tournament, but like to do it this bad, and to have a Cabo Verde side who, yes, they are the Cinderella story. Everyone's watching them, but to be outperformed like this and just go out, it's a sad look for this federation.
I just don't get it, and like I think I have spoken poorly about Saudi Arabia every single time.
Oh yeah,
they've come up, and I've consistently said I have no confidence in this national team. They have to prove that they're a good national team before I start buying into their stocks again. Look, I still think they have great players. Like I think Saud Abdulhamid had a solid match, and he's kind of the European representative from this national team. And Mohamed Kano is still one of my favorite Asian football midfielders. Like he's such a fun talent to watch, and he lights it up at Al Hilal, and he also I thought had a really solid match. But like you can't have. If this is Salim Al-Dossari's last World Cup, which I think all signs indicate that it will be, like, what did he do? Like, he didn't do anything. And if he's the captain and like the crucial piece in the attack, you need better performance instead of a guy like him. He was dreadful today. He was dreadful in the Uruguay match. And then they just didn't create chances. Cabo Verde, like. The other two matches, you go to the Spain match. Spain created a ton of chances, just weren't able to convert, right? But that's also Spain. Like I don't expect Saudi Arabia to perform the same way Spain did. But even Uruguay created significantly more chances than Cape Verde. Cape Verde just happened to kind of capitalize on their two big chances and score, and it ends up being a draw there. But Cape Verde had the better chances against Saudi Arabia.
Let me pull
significantly so.
15 shots for Cabo Verde to 7 for Saudi Arabia.
But look at the second half, because the first half was even. Yeah, if you look at the second half stats specifically, in a match that's 0-0 in Saudi Arabia, if you don't win, you're going home. You're telling me like you had like 3 shots the entire second half, 4 shots. I don't remember what the stats were, but like, I don't get it. They should have lost. It shouldn't have been a draw. They should have lost.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's just I mean, it just kind of proves that this Cabo Verde side, yes, Cinderella story. It's going to be the talking point. Wherever we're going to read this on Yahoo Sports, The Athletic, us talking about it now. But I mean, if you're not going to put away your chances, you're not going to advance the next round. Like I think they're going to be one and done out of the round of 32. But this Saudi Arabia side, I mean, do you expect them to make some like changes from the top down? Like Georgios Donis has not proven himself at all to be a competent enough coach for this side.
I don't even blame Donis. He joined in April and he had 2 matches leading into the World Cup to coach this team. Like I again, like this is just mismanagement from the federation from top to bottom. Again, we've talked about how the Saudi Pro League, I don't think it's beneficial for the national team. Like they don't prioritize, like development of Saudi players, and they don't like it doesn't work alongside the national team in the sense that like MLS helps develop young American players. And like we see a lot of MLS players get opportunities with the national team, and we see some of them have tremendous success, even if it's post like their MLS tenure. Like a lot of these national team players are former MLS players, and like Saudi, like they're all Saudi Pro League players, but we haven't seen any of them like really develop. And it's just like if you just keep buying foreign players and bringing them in with no real setup in terms of how you're going to develop players domestically, it's going to cause problems. I feel like again, like the Saudi players are really complacent and they don't really care, if I'm being honest. The Asian Cup is going to be in Saudi Arabia, so if they don't show up well in that's going to be a whole different story. Because again, they had a horrible qualification window into the World Cup. They had a horrible World Cup where they scored 1 goal and had a -3 goal differential and didn't make it out of the groups. like they have a favorable group in the Asian Cup as well because they're the hosts, so they had a pot 1 selection. So I think they're in a group with Palestine as the only like real threat, if that's even fair to say. Kuwait and Oman aren't bad, but like Palestine, we'll have to see how Wessam Abu Ali recovers from that ACL injury. Hopefully he's available for the Asian Cup. But
so I think it's expected back before. I think probably like
December, I think he's technically January. like out for the season for Columbus, right? So
yeah,
I guess it'll be more about what his form's like at the World Cup and how many minutes he's going to be able to play per match, at the Asian Cup. Sorry, not the World Cup, at the Asian Cup. But yeah, I like if Saudi Arabia fumble the bag again between Oman and Kuwait and Palestine, like that's where we, I think, need to have a more serious discussion about what it needs to be topped. I already think it needs to be top to bottom, kind of like there needs to be change in the federation, and it's I don't think it's a coach thing. You could put any coach in the Saudi national team, and I don't think they would get anything out of this. I don't think any of the players care. I don't.
And that last question before we move on to the Egypt-Iran game. We've seen Qatar kind of bring in different players from around the world, and kind of naturalize them for the national team. And we've seen MLS kind of switch away from that that aging star to developing younger players, like you just talked about. Do you think Saudi Arabia, or which of those routes do you think Saudi Arabia will more likely try to do post like Asian Cup?
Naturalization? They don't care about young players.
I don't know what the hell happened, man. I don't know what the hell happened. All of a sudden, my wires got tangled. Next thing I know, my main webcam just shut me out, and now it says it's disconnected from whatever it claims it's been disconnected from, because I never touched a button or anything. I don't know. I don't know what goes on anymore with these things. Jeez, I'll tell you, crazy stuff. But I'm gonna try now to do it through my phone, so we can. There goes my lightning rig. Everything's falling apart over here in Casa Foyerstein. I don't know what the hell's going on anymore. Technology is a pain in the ass.
That's okay. We're just talking about Saudi Arabia's downfall and
let me tell you about Saudi Arabia's downfall. That was just absolutely unbelievable how they just let Cabo Verde have all those chances in the match, especially in the second half. I mean, what were they trying to do, man? Saudi Arabia. Nothing. What the hell were they trying to do? Like, what, they were just inviting Cabo Verde to go to their side, to their side of the freaking pitch and just let them have all the shots in the world? I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's crazy.
Bad, yeah.
Okay, now I can add. There we go. There it is.
There you go.
There we go.
I can't. Anyway, you were saying about you think naturalization is probably with the route that Saudi Arabia is going to end up going to.
If they do, I don't know if they do either. I mean it's tough. Sense, I think, yeah, they're definitely not going the youth route, just because they haven't proven that they can develop youth talent in Saudi Arabia.
That's right.
So yeah, again, it's with Saudi Arabia, my I think stance is going to be consistent in the sense that until I see something, I'm not going to believe it, and they haven't proven it with their play. Again, I said I expected a win from Cabo Verde coming into this match. They should have won the match. It ends in a draw. Saudi Arabia don't advance. I'm not shocked at all. Like I had as much expectation for Saudi Arabia as they did Iraq, given the group. Like it was truly like rock bottom because they've given me no confidence.
No, I don't blame you at all, because the way Saudis played in this World Cup was just an absolute disgrace. Just, you thought they could do something, threaten Cabo Verde, at least get something on frame. I think they tried a little bit in the first half, Kenta, but in reality, it just was an absolute mess. It looked like, I don't know, they just gave up. We'll just play for the draw and we'll just go home with our tails tucked between our legs.
Again, like I think when you play, everyone plays in the Saudi Pro League pretty much for this league besides Abdulhamid. And so when you're making as much money as these players are domestically in your league, I think it makes players complacent. I really do. And like I know broadcasters in each match they talk about the Saudi Pro League during the Saudi Arabia matches and talk about, well, this is an issue, this is good, this is an issue, this is good. Like at the end of the day, when if players, everyone on the team is making boatloads of money when they don't play like players that should be making boatloads of said money, because like if we're being honest, most of these players have not shown up in any of these matches. Like you just have a bunch of like arrogant guys who like have egos and don't really care and are complacent. And I feel like that's what we saw. And we haven't seen a manager, like you can bring in the greatest tactician, you can bring in like a guy that tries to get the group together from a morale standpoint, is a good man manager. It has like none of that's worked for Saudi Arabia. And it's like, well, I don't really know what the next step forward is. You know, Saudi Pro League is bleeding money, so you know if the federation is really smart, you reduce the salaries, let a lot of the European players go back to Europe, because that isn't doing anything for your league. Like you're just paying a lot of money for players, and you're not getting good attendance or viewership, and you're not increasing the attraction of the sport in your country. So you cut that, and then you focus on developing your players at the domestic level and sending your players internationally rather than keeping them all domestically. I think that's the other thing, right? Is like we have a lot of these Asian teams that like the players are very fine playing in their domestic league when they are more than talented enough to be going to Europe. You had Akram Afif after the Asian Cup in 2023 for Qatar, like win Asian Player of the Year over Sun Heung-min, and he goes, I don't want to go. And he just stays in Qatar. He had offers from Europe, and he says, nah, I don't want to go. It's the same thing with the majority of the Saudi Pro League players. I think a player like Salim Maldasari, not now, but maybe 4 years ago, like when he was 30 years old or in his late 20s instead of 34, had the opportunity to have, you know, I just across the board, even like Mohamed Kano, I think he should be playing in, you know, in Europe. I like Salim playing 1 year in La Liga to me is not good enough. And he just came right. I don't remember exactly what I don't know if it was a loan. I think it was a loan to Villarreal from Al Hilal, but yeah, like that's just not good enough for the greatest player in your country. No. But it's complacency when like you're paying more than, if I'm making more at home, why would I leave? You know, and then if you have everyone doing that and you have your top talents particularly doing that, why would it's the same thing that happens in Iran too. But like if all the top players in the captains and the leaders of the group aren't leaving, then why would the younger players move? But you need those younger players to move and develop for the national team to find success, to better leagues, more competitive leagues. And it just creates this whole cycle where like, unless you start to break that down and have more Saud Abdulhamids, like players that are actually leaving to play in Europe and play at the top level, then you're capping yourself in terms of quality. Because I think a lot of these players are great. They just like, we haven't seen them develop. And they're not going to develop in Saudi Arabia. I can assure you that much.
No. Infrastructure's not there for that, so we'll see hopefully in the future.
No, exactly. I mean, let's go right now. Obviously, Iraq, unfortunately, red card to Reben Sulaka in the 13th minute. Originally a yellow card, but because of VAR on the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity of Dawg, so it got changed to a straight red, and Iraq was just playing 10 men the rest of the way. That had to be a big blow for Iraq to go down to 10 men from the 13th minute on.
Yeah.
We went over this already earlier, but when your camera went out, we definitely went over this match.
No, I know, but I gotta get my 2 cents in. Come on, guys.
I mean, again, I was telling Michael this, but like early in the match, you just concede the goal, especially against Senegal, where you know you're already gonna, like, I'd rather be 2-0 down than down a man in the 13th minute. Like it's just, to me, it's just a lack of experience in being in these big moments. Like Sulaka right now plays for what, Port FC in Thailand? My brain is fried right now. I think that's correct. But like, you know, it's just like a lot of these players outside of, like aren't playing in the top leagues, and you know, Iraq is a bit better than Saudi Arabia that we previously mentioned in terms of playing players being a bit more ambitious and going out to leagues that aren't as comfortable at home, but they haven't been at the World Cup for a while, and of course the group is absolutely brutal, but it feels like there's a lack of experience there as well that plays a factor. But yeah, I like when this group was drawn, I think the expectations for Iraq were very, very low. So, what else did you expect them 3 losses for them facing really, Senegal,
unfortunately.
Norway, and France?
Yeah, I mean, look, Senegal took them to the woodshed, and they had to do it. They wanted to get out of the group, and I think they'll go to the third place. Best of 8. We'll see what happens at the end, because we got one more match day review tomorrow, obviously, or Sunday morning, whatever you want to call it. But I wanted to get this out of the way. I don't know if you guys talked about what happened towards the end of tonight's big matchup, obviously, and that was the oh my God, what did we see at the end between Iran and Egypt? My God, that was crazy within the last moments of second half stoppage time, Kenta. I could not believe. I thought Iran did the miracle. They scored. VAR intervened and said, no, you didn't. We're taking it away. And it ended 1-1, knocking out Iran. Egypt takes second. And basically, well, now Iran has to hope and pray they can get one of those best of 8 third place finishes to move on.
I don't even have words to describe this match, if I'm being honest. Yeah, I mean, they need one of 3 results for tomorrow's matches. I think they need Uzbekistan to not lose to the Congo, or Austria and Algeria matchup to not end a draw, which I think is the most realistic of the bunch, or Ghana to beat Croatia and England to also win their match. Wow. I think those are paired together. I think you're just betting on Austria, Algeria to be not end in a draw if you're Iran, and kind of hoping for that. Just the way that it happens. Obviously, like the last 10 minutes of regulation, Saeed Izzatullahi gets the yellow card. So like right there, your best midfielder is on a yellow card and is also suspended for the next match day. Like, I feel like that's already kind of the gut punch at that point. It's like, okay, even if we do advance, we just lost your key kind of cog in the midfield. And then you think you scored out of all the players that could have scored, freaking Shoja Khalizadeh of Tractor and the PGPL scores in his last World Cup, in his last group stage of the World Cup match. 37 years old, puts the ball in the back of the net, and then he's off by half a foot. And it's just, and then they hit the bar like a minute after they hit the crossbar too, and it's just it. Oh my goodness, it's not surprising because it's Iran, and like this is what I feel like. This is what always happens with Iran, watching them play. But it's like gut wrenching, the way that they conceded. I mean, another fantastic goal by Ramin Rezaian. I mean, just a ridiculous tournament by him. He had the 2 goals against New Zealand in the opener for the draw, and the angle that he finished that first goal from was ridiculous. And yeah. I think they could have prevented that first goal too. I think Bernvand didn't really do a great job on that opener for Egypt as well. So it's a tough one, because they clearly had Iran, in my eyes, had the better chances. They were so close on so many opportunities. The one goal they did concede was one that they probably would want back, because it's a goalkeeper kind of pushing it back into the box rather than kind of pushing it out, right, and away from danger. And just kind of, I guess, if you're a Team Melli fan, you're just hoping and praying that one of these results go in your favor tomorrow.
With Izzatullahi out, the next game, should Iran make it to the round 32, who is the next man to step up for that midfield? Like who can like kind of like help kind of lead the charge for that if they have any?
Who knows? Because the one thing with Galinoe is he just refused to play subs. I think he had a horrible game in terms of managing his substitutes. I don't really know. I mean, it's who was the pairing today? Is it Tolahi and Godos again today in the midfield? Or was it Gorbani?
Gorbani.
Okay, so then it may be a combination of Godos kind of sliding in more centrally and Rezayan playing wide. We've seen Rezayan the last two matches split half of his match between playing right wing back and right mid. He's kind of slid through, and like John Bosch sometimes come through. Maybe John Bosch has the 90 minutes in him. Who I doubt that, but he tactically has Premier League experience with this time at Brighton, and despite thinking that he's been absolutely horrendous for Iran over the last couple of years, he occasionally puts through like this masterclass, and you're like, oh my gosh, this guy's brilliant. So maybe in a one-off situation like this where you're already dealing with a suspension, you count on someone like John Bosch, but yeah, I would assume it's Goldos probably moving back in the midfield, which Goldos I really thought had a solid match. Like another player that I really was overall impressed with, especially like he had to split a lot of his time on the right side that he doesn't necessarily play a ton of. He's more of a central player, but I thought he had a pretty solid shift there compared to someone like Mohebi on the other side who really struggled at times. So yeah, it's going to be hard to replace Izidlahi just because he's just really good in the midfield. He's good at winning the ball. He's good at kind of the progressive passing on the ball. He's a good tempo setter for Iran, especially when they have the ball, which they don't necessarily have the ball a ton. So when they do, they really need to be efficient when they have the ball. So
no, they really do. They have to. It's got to be a lot better than that. But still, I thought I was surprised. They got the penalty before the equalizer was scored. I thought they were going to score there, but great save from the goalkeeper from Egypt that prevented that penalty
by Tanemi. Disaster! Like just such a horrible penalty by Tanemi too. Not the guy you'd expect to kind of struggle, but he just. I don't know what it is about Taremi. He's like one of those pitchers in baseball that starting pitchers that would need an opener. Like, just has not had a good start to any match this World Cup. Yeah. Like even like the second match against Belgium, it took him scoring the offside goal to kind of get going, and then he started get going. Like it takes like this guy like 20 minutes to start getting into a match, and I know he's not the youngest striker, but like for a team that's having so limited chances, like you're only 33, you really should be like get going from minute 1, like not minute 25. Like you shouldn't be waiting for the first hydration break to say, oh, that was my warm up. No, let's get going now. But it kind of feels like that because that was us. Taremi's usually a good penalty taker. I was so surprised to see him take a really poor. Just what the placement wasn't good, the pace on the shot wasn't good. Like it was nothing about that penalty screamed good. So,
no. And the crazy thing is, the build up to that penalty was so good too. Like he was getting into a really good spot to get a shot off, and then
a player. I think he's a guy that like. Yeah, it's just you did the hard part. Just can't get the final part over the line. But yeah, I mean, even when like again, like I spoke about how he starts matches 4, I just think it's like that final part of finishing that like he just doesn't do, or the final pass. Like the first bit of the match, he's just not clinical enough on those really important passes. Like his hold up play is always going to be fine over the entirety of the match that he plays, or like his runs. He's smart. He's a really clever and smart striker. Like. That part, like he doesn't need time to like grow into a match, but like it just feels like the finish, the touch, the like those things that like you really need your striker when you're not going to possess the ball a ton to be really sharp from minute 1 on. He's just not sharp. No. And it's just like what can you change in your warm up routine? Like what something has to change because you can't be missing that penalty. They would have won if they made the penalty.
Yeah, exactly. They probably would have won it inside the opening half, and then everything else would have been, Egypt trying to fight their way to claw back to make it a 2-2 game, and they just couldn't do it. And once again, it just comes down to coaching. That's what it is. It just comes down to coaching.
I really just have lacked the confidence in Amir Galinoe, and like 2-3 subs in the match, one at halftime, and like it's just confusing game management. Again, like I spoke about Dennis Eckert, like he didn't play a single minute this entire World Cup group stage. You naturalized him, rushed his passport process to get him eligible for this World Cup as a striker. A great player to have on the pitch for the last few minutes that plays in the Belgian Pro League, like plays in the solid league and has had good seasons, and you just don't play him. And the same goes for Ali Pour. I think he could have been a good striker off the bench, and you could tell like in the second half it wasn't going to be good when like Marmoush was coming on for Egypt and like it was Saleh Hardani for Iran. And nothing against Hardani, but I have no confidence in any of these Esteghlal players playing in the PGPL. So it's like it's just the levels are. It's tough game management from Galinoe, and he's my phone is actively blowing up with Team Melli Iran fans just pissed off about Galinoe. So I'm sure my phone will. Yeah, I'm very confident in saying that my phone will overheat by the end of tonight.
Be careful, everybody. Kenta's phone is melting as we speak.
Exactly.
That's just crazy stuff. But other than that, one more day to review, and then after that we go straight to the round of 32, and Kenta will get a break on Sunday after Saturday. Now, we don't like you, Kenta. We just know that you work your butt off really hard, and we want you to take a break.
Deserves a break.
I don't know if I want a break. Do I?
No, he wants to keep going. Just wants to keep on going. I don't blame you. I want to keep on going.
Yeah.
I have to keep on
going. I guess tomorrow, Jordan plays Argentina. I guess Messi's not going to start that match. I don't know. I saw that somewhere. I don't know how legit that. I have no idea.
I've seen a couple reports on that actually that he might not even play.
It doesn't matter. It truly doesn't matter. Like, Uzbekistan play the Congo. That's the two Asian teams, and then the two teams kind of scoreboard watching. South Korea, currently in 8th place out of 12. They need every result to go in their favor. The 3 aforementioned results. So I don't even think the 3 aforementioned results are enough. South Korea might be out. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't done all the math. But it's a
religious man. Is he praying right now at the Buddhist temple?
So
I don't know if you want. I don't even know if you're South Korea, if you want to be at the World Cup. Like, you're just gonna get exposed again. Like, it's been dreadful. Like, it's not a tournament that you go in and you go, okay, like, we got 3 points, but we won the last match day and we're trending upward. Like, it's just dreadful all across the board after the first match day and the opening day. So, but yeah, you were saying something.
Yeah. No, what would you say as a whole for the Asian Football Confederation with these national teams outside of Japan? What would you say about the success or failure for the World Cup this tournament for the Asian team?
Outside of the success, Australia had a good tournament, I thought. You take the USA match, and if you obviously it's a loss, but I thought they played Paraguay kind of fine. And they play, I think, Egypt next, so I'm interested to see how that matchup goes. And they beat Turkey in the first match day, and I think if they play the way that they played Turkey, I think they'll be a very competitive team. I still like a lot of their young players. Just put Duncan on the wings, please. Please put Duncan on the wings, on the wing instead of putting him at striker. Qatar, Saudi Arabia, 2 nations that I think are just absolute frauds in Asian football coming into the World Cup. They got here because they hosted all their matches in round 4 of World Cup qualification. And so they weren't good enough to make it as one of the top 6 first teams to make it out of AFC, and it shows. Iraq were the 9th and last team through intercontinental. I think it's interconfederation now. I think the name changed. Right? So they barely made it, and they're in a group death with France, Senegal, and Norway. So the expectations were rock bottom, and they finished rock bottom. So I don't really know what to expect there. I think the real disappointment there is just South Korea and Iran. Iran were in a group that they should have had an easier time with. I still think they will make it out. I think Algeria, Austria, I think that match won't end in a draw. I think one of these, I hope one of these matches goes in the favor of Iran, that the team really make it out of the group stage. Otherwise, it's going to be horrible for me because my 2 co-hosts are Iranian, and they would not have a fun time. So I think they've done enough, but in a group with New Zealand, opening the match day with a draw just wasn't good enough. And they especially seeing how Belgium played New Zealand today, Iran really should have put a better performance against New Zealand, and that's a bit of a shame. And then South Korea, you win your opening match day, fantastic. You lose to Mexico in Mexico, fine, but the way that they went out and lost against South Africa was really disappointing. Not overly surprising again, because Hong-Min Bo, I don't have any confidence in any Asian manager, do I? I don't trust Hajime Moriyasu either as a Japanese person. I don't trust him. Yeah, it's I think that's the big shock is they're a team that made it to the knockout stage last time out, and they're, I guess, technically hanging on by a thread at this point, but they probably won't be there if we're being realistic. I don't really expect them to be in the knockout stage. So we'll see what that managerial situation looks like, because I don't think they make the move before the Asian Cup, because I talked to Michael about this. That turnaround is too short. And then I guess the 2 Asian teams I didn't mention, Jordan, Uzbekistan, they're just happy to be there. It's their debut in the World Cup. I don't think it's something that they're going to be overly critical about. I'm really disappointed in Uzbekistan that they made their managerial change to Fabio Cannavaro the way that they did. They had a manager that got them to the World Cup, and then they just kind of slide him over and bring in a more established name. In Asian football, that's one of 2 reasons. One is so that the blame can go on an international manager when the team doesn't do well. That's usually the popular reason that national teams go with an international man, a non homegrown's not the right term, not a manager from that country. It's usually because they want someone to blame, and someone that's not from the country. Yeah. So if Uzbekistan go Cannavaro, you're out after this World Cup, it's probably because they had that lined up and they didn't expect this team to do very well. Right. I'm still really disappointed because I thought their manager leading into the World Cup did an incredible job getting this team there, and it's just one of the things that you want to give the guy that got your team there, Hatanich, you want to get him. You want to let him, instead of having him sit on the bench as an assistant manager, let him be the guy calling the shots. He got you this far. Yeah. But I think it's a cool experience for both these national teams. I know fans from both national teams that just had a blast being in the States and being in these host countries, just watching these matches and being at a World Cup where their country was playing. So I think for the fans, the results obviously aren't ideal, but who cares? You're at a World Cup and your country's at a World Cup for the first time. You're not rooting for other countries that you have no affiliation with. So I think that by itself is already enough. And now the expectation is that they continue next cycle, and we'll see them at the World Cup, and they're actually a bit more competitive, because they weren't incredibly competitive, either of them.
So before we let you go, Kenta, we got some nice words here from one of our watchers when we came on, and he basically tells us, promise to get some sleep, guys. Well, from Michael, he's on the West Coast in the Washington, Oregon area, so he's still going strong. It's just Kenta and me, we're vampires. We can hang out with till 3, 4, 5 in the morning. I just can't party like I used to in my old age. So party over here,
yeah. Oh, also, Kenta, before you go,
yes.
you were kind of going off a little bit there. I did some quick maths on the third place games. South Korea, they need Algeria to lose to Austria tomorrow. And
is that like a goal differential thing? Curiously.
Yes, they're literally up by. They're in the eighth. South Korea's in the eighth spot by goal differential, by one goal. So if Algeria draw or win, South Korea's out. Congo has to lose as well to Uzbekistan. If
a draw's
Congo,
enough, right?
Actually yes, a draw's enough.
So if
they lose or draw, then South Korea's in. But then Iran, they're comfortable enough in sixth, but in the chance that Congo win, doesn't matter how many goals, Congo win, if Algeria win, and if Croatia win, Iran and South Korea are both out.
Yeah.
So it's kind of wild. I mean, like you said, Iran should be safe, and they can definitely scare some teams the next round should they go through. But a lot of factors going to this last day.
It's interesting because I think when we were going into this World Cup, at least for me, the assumption was 4 points was a guarantee, which it still is, but 3 points with a good goal differential was going to be enough. And 0 goal GD isn't bad, but we're talking about Iran like needing results to go in their favor on the final match day to get through, and that's surprising to me. Yeah, like I thought there would be more 2-pointers. Is Uruguay the only 2-pointer that's played all 3 matches, right? And I guess Congo, if they don't win, they're also a 2 or 1-pointer. But like aside from that, everyone at least has 3 points. So I think this setup encourages teams to be more passive, I guess, or because it feels like there's less teams that are losing all 3 matches, or win a couple draws and getting 2 points, because everyone has a win somewhere, it seems. Or if you're on you've drawn all 3 matches, but the math is a bit surprising because I think a lot of people were told at the start like 3 points with not a horrible goal differential should get you through. It's like, no,
and
that doesn't seem like it's the case. Yeah.
All right, Kenta, we will see you tomorrow night. You take care and get some sleep, okay?
Alrighty, sounds good.
All right, once again, Kenta Hagiwara from Area Sportsnet covering FC Cincinnati and, of course, the Asian football teams on his AFC pod. It's going to be another fun night tomorrow night. And hopefully I'll have my regular camera fixed by then, so we don't have to worry. I don't have to, use my smartphone to hold it up so long. Let's see here. We got a comment from Mr. A. Bowen. All these teams that are here essentially by default, it is really worth having the expanded World Cup. More games great, more coverage great, but some very lopsided pool draws and matches as well. Well, look, FIFA wanted to expand it because of having 3 separate co-hosts, whatever you want to call them, and they wanted to get more butts in the seats. They wanted to give more teams an opportunity. The only thing is this: if they expanded to 64, then it's completely lost. Then that will destroy the World Cup, and it makes no sense. And at the same time, I think we need to have it at 48 teams, not just for one tournament, but maybe for the next 5 or 6 before you decide another expansion. But even if you do, it's too much. Because then what are you going to make it? Like a participation trophy of some sort? I mean, you can't do that. Because then it dilutes the opportunity for, other nations. Yeah, they'll make the World Cup for the first time, but then it's going to dilute the entire qualification. It's just, this is why I always say, Michael, when you're trying to qualify for the World Cup, at the stages and the years that they have it for the national teams on your national calendar, this is the journey that you got to take to try and make it to the greatest tournament in world soccer, world football history, and that is the World Cup.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and Alex does bring up a good point. Also, A. Bowen, he is he's Cascadia's White Caps photographer, and he also put out a couple fantastic pieces talking about the Save the Caps movement. So anyone who gets a chance to read those, they definitely should. But anyway, the point he brings up that there's definitely a lot of lopsided draws and a lot of different matches as well. But Well, I agree with that, and I still think 48 teams is a little too much. I think we should revert back to the 32. Like that's just my personal opinion. I think you get more competitive matches with 32 teams, but with this expanded format, you get a lot of different storylines and a lot of different narratives. Whether it's the big teams and the small teams are kind of creating their own stories, and we're seeing these players that I'm a sicko, and I watch all these obscure leagues because I can't help myself but watch a million different leagues, including like the smaller ones. But we're getting exposure for these younger players in these small leagues and for these quote unquote smaller countries that we never would have seen before. And I think that in itself makes the expanded World Cup great. To be honest, like you said, that extra coverage is fantastic. But overall, when it comes to general play, I think the 32 team format should be the way to go going forward. Even if like when we get to 2030, we have Spain, Portugal, Morocco, Paraguay, Uruguay, and Argentina. Like we're gonna have 6 teams automatically qualifying for it. I still think it should be the 32.
No, and I'm not disagreeing with you that as well. If they reduce it back to 32, I'm all for it as well. I just want this to make sense,
Yeah.
Because now you have the 48 team World Cup for 2030. And when it comes to qualification in CONCACAF, especially in CONCACAF, the El Clasico is officially dead. And the only time it's going to be alive is either the U.S. and Mexico face each other in the Nations League, either in the semifinal or the final, or they face each other in the Gold Cup final. And that's it. You're no longer going to the Estadio Azteca unless either the U.S. or Mexico somehow has a crap year and they fall in the rankings, either CONCACAF rankings or the FIFA rankings, and then for some miracle they'll be in the same World Cup qualification group. The El Clasico,
I got distracted. Do people really call the U.S. Mexico game El Clasico?
Well, that's what they've been calling it. They've been calling it El Clasico for a long time.
I didn't even know that. That is absurd.
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, it's not my fault.
I know.
I'm just a messenger, man.
I just heard that for the first time. That's just crazy. No, but I mean, I agree. I mean, it'd be nice to see like a U.S. Canada, Mexico, Canada playing against each other much earlier than just the semifinal or the final. Yeah. But again, it's just still nice to see the development of this region and seeing these countries having the chance to play in that group, in that pot A, and having a chance to really take it to these the big 3 or big 4, depending on who you ask.
No, exactly. And that's the only thing. It's like, look, while it's great to have this extra coverage and these great stories, like what happened with Curacao scoring their first World Cup goal against the Germans, what Cabo Verde has done now in 3 World Cup group stage matches. Now they're going to get killed against Argentina, but they'll take that any day because no one expected them to go past the group stage, and now they are. And now they're playing a 4th match. It might be dead. They might be dead and buried right there before they even kick off. But still, though, give them credit.
They made history.
They made history, and good for them. And now Congo DR has an opportunity to make history, possibly, to get out of the group and head into the knockout stage as well. I mean, we'll have to wait and see. But right now, there's still, look, one more day of this for the group stage, and then we'll get to the round of 32 right away Sunday. And, all bets are off, and we'll see what happens. So it's going to be fun. But, like I said, I don't blame you for thinking we should go back to 32. I'll go either way. I don't care. I just want the World Cup to be exciting, to be healthy, and, for everyone to enjoy themselves. That's the main number one thing.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, people have definitely done that this tournament. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and preview the next matches coming up here for Saturday, June the 27th at 5 Eastern, 2 Pacific. Panama will be taking on England, and that'll be at MetLife Stadium on Fox in Rutherford, New Jersey. And at the same time, Croatia will be taking on Ghana. That will be at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia on Fox Sports 1. Also, the Panama-England match will be on Telemundo, while NBC Universal will have Croatia and Ghana. 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific. Colombia is taking on Portugal here in Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium on Fox and Telemundo. Congo DR is taking on Uzbekistan over at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta on Fox Sports 1 and NBC Universal. And finally, Algeria taking on Austria at Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Kansas. And that will be on FS1 and NBC Universal, while Jordan will take on Argentina over at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Fox and Telemundo, and you can watch all matches and streaming on English Fox 1 or in Spanish NBC's Peacock app or website. Before we say goodnight, I want to go back. I know you were talking about Cabo Verde. I want to throw my 2 cents in. Congratulations to them. They really showed grit, toughness, poise. I thought they should have had at least a goal against Saudi Arabia, but I was very happy for them, excited for them. Obviously, the draw was enough to put them across. Spain held their end of the bargain, got the only goal against Uruguay. And once again, Marcelo Bielsa, it's either he's got to change his ways or he's just going to have to retire because, there's only so much that man can do. And he cannot continue to drive his national teams or his club teams into the ground. I'm sorry. The fossil has to end it himself, either change his tactics, change his philosophy, or just say, I am done.
Hopefully it's the latter of the 3.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So once again, I apologize for my technical issues. I apologize to everyone for that. But obviously, Michael Martinez did a great job holding the fort, like I know my co-host can. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to read anything in the Pacific Northwest on soccer, Seattle Sounders with, of course, Michael Martinez, Jeremy Peterman with the Portland Timbers, and of course also adding on the Vancouver Whitecaps as well. Another good show, Michael. Thanks again for holding the fort for me till I returned, and another great job as always.
Thank you. Happy to have you back.
Welcome. Yep. Oh, it's great to be back. Hopefully, I'll have everything fixed by tomorrow. We will be ready to go when these games are underway. For Michael Martinez of Cascadia FC, I'm Daniel Feuerstein. Thank you very much for watching us tonight. As always, enjoy your football. Thank you. Take care. So long. Have a good night. And bye-bye.